All right, friends, so I know you're new to real estate investing, and the biggest thing that's on most of your minds is how do I best prepare to buy my very first real estate investment property? Hey friends, Stephen Michael Miller here, and you've got questions, we've got answers, so I'm gonna jump right in here. I've got a question here from Eric, and Eric said, do I need a full-time job to get started in real estate investing? And the answer is, it depends. You don't necessarily need a full-time job to get started in investing, but you do need income, and you do need know-how in some way, shape, or form, whether that's from you or from a partner. We'll discuss some of that as well, but I want to talk about how to prepare to really buy a property. So hopefully I'll answer a lot of your questions here, Eric, in as I go through how to prepare to buy real estate. Now, I know we also had some comments from Tahoe. Tahoe Took or Tooch, something like that. All right. So we got a comment from you, and you were asking, hey, you know, what if I put $3,500 down? What if I put $10,000 down on a property? What do I need in terms of credit? You know, you're just looking for some more information. I thought these kind of two went together, so we decided to kind of sandwich them in this one video and give you a good response. So first of all, I want to talk about what you need to do to prepare. Now, couple of things. And the very first thing is, in order to do real estate on your own, you're going to need money, right? You can't do real estate on your own without money. Now, I know we often talk about doing real estate with no money, no credit, all those things, but when you're doing real estate with no money and no credit, what we're referencing is none of your own money and credit and using partnering as that ability to bring those assets into your world, right? So I'm talking about right now, doing money or doing real estate just on your own. You do need money. You need credit of some sort as well. I would say networking or relationships, that's another really big thing that you need to focus on. And education is also huge. So let's start with money. How much money do you need to be able to buy a property? Well, if you're buying a single family residence, right, just a single family home, and you're buying it as a primary residence, then you need less than you would need for an investment property. For a primary residence, you're looking at typically somewhere between a 3 to 5% down payment. Now, depending on where you live and what your average purchase price of the home is, that will fluctuate a little bit, but you're typically right in the 3 to 5% range that you need as a down payment for that property. If you're buying an investment property, then you're looking at a very typical 20% down payment. So again, in your area, look at the homes that are in your area, what maybe the median home price is. We like to buy a little bit below the median home price, and then do the math and determine what that would look like. What would that down payment look like for a home that you're buying as a primary residence, and what would that look like as a home that you're buying as an investment property? The second thing that you need is credit. Okay, credit is really important if you're looking to get loans from a bank. Now, if you're not looking to get a loan, if you have the cash and you're just going to buy the home outright with no loan, no mortgage, then you can do that. But if you are looking to get a mortgage, then credit score is one thing that they really are big on. They look at that really, really heavily. And for a primary residence loan, you typically need a 620 or higher. There are some different government programs that may be able to allow you to dip below that 620 mark, but 620 is very, very typical. If you have a 620 or higher, you can qualify for a loan with most banks and lending institutions. If you're looking for and that's for a primary residence loan. If you're looking to do an investment property, you're typically looking at somewhere between a 680 or higher, right? So 680 on up into the 700s and higher, you can then qualify for an investment purchase mortgage. So you need credit. So again, we've gone over money, we've gone over credit, and I'm gonna talk about education now here for just a moment. Education is extremely important. Knowing what you're getting into is really, really important. I know it happens all too often where people jump into real estate, they get the first loan that they come across, you know, they buy the first home that they see because they aren't really educated in what to look for. And oftentimes that puts them behind the eight ball, right? They're kind of stuck in a situation that they don't want to be in. So as you're preparing to buy, the more education that you can get, the better you're going to be. Education, knowledge, truly is the foundational parts of power, right? I don't like to say that knowledge is power because it's not the knowledge alone, but implementing that knowledge. But you do have to have that foundation in education, that foundation of knowledge before you get out there and start doing things, right? This is a ready, aim, fire, not a ready, fire, aim, right? You want to make sure that you have some information before you just jump in. And sometimes you can get that education from mentors. Sometimes you can get that from a course. Sometimes you can get it even from school, and so from different places. But make sure that you do have some of that education. Another thing that I mentioned is before you as you're preparing to buy, and for some of you that may be in college right now, or maybe you're even pre-college right now, or maybe you're out of college. I mean, wherever you are, networking or your relationships is some of the most important capital you can have. We talk about other people's money and your financial capital, but relationship capital is so important. The reason why I say that is because as you're preparing to buy properties and as you start getting into the buying game, at some point you're going to get outside of your own assets and resources, right? You're going to use up all of your money and you're going to use up all of your credit. This is where relationship capital comes into play, because if you want to continue to build a portfolio outside of your own resources, then you're going to need to tap into other people, other relationships. And that means that you've hopefully been networking for years and years and years. You've been meeting people. If you're in school right now, use school, get good grades and do all your work and do all that as well. But use it for networking. I mean, get after it. Join clubs, meet people, get to know them, what their needs are, serve them. The more you can do that now, earlier on in life, the more it's going to pay off for you later on in life as well. And when you're going to find partners, when you're going to expand and grow your portfolio, there will be a lot of people that will want to work with you because of the person that you've been and the relationships that you've created with them. So that is a huge one. Now, another part of this question was, what if I have $3,500 to put down on a home, or what if I've got even $10,000 or more to put down on a home? How does that help me as I'm preparing to purchase? Well, again, depending on whether you want to buy this home as a primary residence or as an investment purchase is going to determine the amount of money that you're going to need. Now, just because you maybe are going to buy a primary residence, you may want to put more money down. The more you put down, typically the less your monthly payment is going to be, because you're having to get less of a loan, right? Sometimes the more money you put down also enables you to buy a cheaper rate. Sometimes you can buy a cheaper interest rate with more money. I will say this as well, the higher your credit is as well, the higher your credit score is, the lower your interest rates often are as well. So those are correlated. So as you're preparing, the better your credit can be, the better you're going to be. The more money you can save, of course, the better you're going to be. And the greater the relationships that you can forge, the better off you're going to be. Whether you've got a full-time job, or you've got a 1099 contract job, or you own your own business, none of that really matters per se, as long as you're keeping proper records and you're paying taxes. If you're doing those things, then qualifying shouldn't be a problem. One other thing that you want to know, you're going to need to know to prepare to buy a home, is that most banks are also looking for a credit history. And credit history, not just a credit score in and of itself, because you could have a 700 credit score, but have a very short history of credit. So they are looking for a good credit history. That typically means that they want you to have a revolving line of credit of some sort. Maybe you bought a car at some point and you're paying that down. They're also oftentimes looking for multiple credit cards, at least 2, sometimes 3 is good, but at least 2 different credit cards. And those are the things that you can do and establish credit now. So gain that credit history. If you take all of those different things that we've listed off right now and you make sure that you're hitting all those different points, you'll be much better prepared to purchase a home in the future. Hey, thanks for watching. Stick around, watch some more, click around. We've got lots of great videos to teach you so much more in real estate. And if you haven't already, subscribe already.